Hey guys, welcome to my deck profile for my Aragon Luna aggro deck that I piloted through day one regional at Shenanigans Games. Got first place, super fun event. Got to meet a lot of cool people. Got to see a lot of repeat grinders, everything like that. Had a lot of really good games, and this deck was super fun. So let's get into it. At the bottom, you'll see normal towers, shards, nothing really weird there. If we get to the list, we will have three Omega Magic Yamis, pretty much a staple in every deck. I think the most notable thing you'd say to use for this is getting a on your turn two, play a Hoenna, and then during your opponent's either their turn two, turn three, whoever's on the play, whatever. Towards the end of the turn, you can use the Hoenna to reanimate something. At this point, you'll generally be putting yourself with like 3 to 4 creatures on board just on turn two, and that's pretty ridiculous. Next, we'll get Ghostly Demise. We all know this is going to be a staple in the format moving forward. Additional cost to play this card, offering X, which is expel any number of units from your discard zone, and then Astral units would cost X. It is exactly X, not X or less, not X or more, anything like that. Just something to remember for people who aren't exactly familiar with this card yet. So with all these 002s and 002 tokens going around, you can honestly just play this, expel 0, and you get rid of, the 2 to 4 tokens that might be scaring you. Also, with a lot of Bone Scavengers moving around, this is an Aragon like very heavily graveyard-based deck, so Bone Scavenger is kind of a problem for this deck. Being able to just easily Ghostly Demise for one and get rid of any number of Bone Scavengers is pretty darn good. Next, we have Treat, one of the best commons out of this whole set, in my opinion. 1 mana instacast. It just costs to play this card. Sacrifice a unit. So the fact that it's instacast is very important. Your opponents try and target it with their spell. They try and Dust Strike you, Soul Transfer, or just, you know, get a good attack off. You can sacrifice the unit to search your deck for a number of cards equal to the unit's cost and send them to the discard zone. A very important part of this is that it says a number of cards, not unit cards, not spells, anything. It is just any number of cards. So, you could either grab the stuff you want to put in the graveyard to get nice effects off, or you can, grab spells you just don't want to see later. Point is, you can grab anything. Um, what's really cool with this is it is putting it from your deck to graveyard. So with effects like Obsidian Gargoyle that says if it's put into your graveyard from your deck, it does get that effect, even though it's not, being milled. We'll go to units now. We have Shrieker, 1 mana, 1,000 unit. This is an aggro deck, so that already is like almost good enough. But it gets better. It has Arrive, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the discard zone. It's very good. Like I said, this deck is all about the discard zone. You're trying to mill yourself. So the fact that it's 1 mana, 1,000, which is already good, and then you just have added text, it's great. It's very much on plan. Granite Gargoyle, 5 mana, 3,000. Those things aren't that often very relevant. You don't really play this card. Instead of drawing for your turn, you may discard a card. If you do, add this card from discard zone to your hand, and you can discard this card from your hand to mill yourself for 3. So it's very relevant that you can do this at any point. You could just mill yourself for 3. Instead of drawing for your turn, discarding a card to put this in your hand, that is really good because there's a lot of cards that you don't really want in your hand at any point. Like Pewter Gargoyle and Obsidian Gargoyle really don't do anything from your hand. They all do things either from your graveyard or from, your deck in a graveyard. So it's just a free card to discard to get this card into your hand and, get that added mill effect. It's also a 5-drop, which is relevant. We'll get to that in a minute. Hoenna, we already talked about how good this is. 3 mana, 2,000, already a decent rate. Exhaust, offering X. You can put into play a unit with cost X from your discard zone into play. So you can do it for, 5, grab your Demon Evil Eye, like really early. You can get it as early as turn 2, turn 3. I think I did that this Saturday. It was really sweet. Grabbing your Great Behemoth is very good. That's honestly one of the reasons that I really like this card in this deck, because Great Behemoth is what the deck's built around, so being able to get that back is really good. So, we talked about the 5 cost being relevant. So this is Gigath, 5 mana, 3,000. This card was printed in set 1, but a lot of people are familiar with it because I did not see really hardly any play. I only heard of like one person playing the deck at Indy. 5 mana, 3,000. Enters battlefield, put a protection counter, target unit control. So this protection counter, if it would be destroyed, or remove all damage and the protection counter from it instead. So it does not get destroyed. It's basically like a shield. This does cover for red tower. So that's very good if you're like trying to get that extra push in and you know that's what's going to stop you. You can just have that protection counter on it and then dude doesn't die. Um, like I said, Great Behemoth is very important for this deck, so being able to put that extra bubble on your Great Behemoth to make sure it just, sticks around for even longer is very, very nice. Now the important part, if this card is in your discard zone, discard dark units from your hand whose combined cost equals 10 and put this card into play. So, like we said, we're milling ourselves a lot with, Shrieker, Treat, Aragon, all of it. So this card is easily going to be in your graveyard, and then you can just discard your Granite Gargoyle, Katrina, Demon Evil Eye, whatever, to put this card into play. There's a lot of fives in this deck, and some of them, like Katrina, don't honestly seem that important. But the point is that you need to discard up to 10, exactly 10, for Gigath. So it can't be like 11, can't be 9, it has to be exactly 10. So having fives makes that really, really easy to discard to get a free Gigath. We had like a really, really degenerate turn where in top 4 against one of our friends, Irving, at the end of his first turn, I like milled myself for 2, got 2 Obsidian Gargoyles with Aragon, and that felt ridiculous. And then like with my turn, I Granite Gargoyle, milled myself some more. Went to his turn, he tried to like attack and remove something, and I, at instant speed, Gigathed from my graveyard, put it into play, and put a protection counter on the creature he was trying to attack. Not only does it just like waste his attack, but it also just gives me a bunch more dudes. That's very, very good, obviously. All right, Demon Evil Eye. Once again, is another one of our fives. Declare a card name, opponent reveals all their hand, discards all cards with that name, draw a card for each card. Every once in a while, you actually play this card. Not very often. Like I said, usually it's just a 5 target for Gigath. It does discard cards from your opponent's hand, which we'll see a little bit later why that's relevant. And getting able to draw cards is just really good because, drawing cards. This is an aggro deck. The occasional card advantage from this is just very nice. Katrina, she's a 5. Honestly, her text is almost irrelevant. I think I maybe played one of these this weekend, like actually played it, and it wasn't for anything important. It was just a dude. Yeah, 5 cost thing for Gigath. That's what's really important here. Great Behemoth, the core of the deck, basically. One of the things it's all built around, where we got the idea. 5 mana, 3,000. Pretty okay for that rate. This card costs 1 less to play for each unit you control with cost 2 or less. Units you control with cost 2 or less get plus 1,000. This deck has a lot of very resilient, I guess is what I'm looking for, small threats that are, 2 or less. So they just keep coming back, and every time they come back, normally they wouldn't be that big. They just, be 500, 1,000, but the Great Behemoth makes them actual threats. They go from being little dinky dudes to like suddenly being like actually scary. Now let's get to those little ridiculous threats. Pewter Gargoyle, 2 mana, 500, absolutely garbage. But if you have Great Behemoth, it's 2 mana, 1,500, and that's like quite okay, especially considering how easy it is to play and get out. This card's in your discard zone. Whatever card is discarded from your opponent's hand by your effect, you may put this card into play. So that is discarded by any effect. So that's the Dark Tower. That's the Demon Evil Eye. That's Luna. That's why we're playing Luna instead of like some other spirit that like might give us more actual value. It's because the engine is Pewter Gargoyle. That's like the base engine this deck was kind of built around, and then Great Behemoth to get a lot of value off of that. We were saying earlier some cards you want to discard with Granite Gargoyle to get it back in and get that extra 3 mil, and Pewter Gargoyle is one of them. It doesn't really do anything from your hand. You really don't want to play this 2 mana 500, but having like a free discard to get Granite Gargoyle back to your hand that doesn't feel bad is just very nice. Obsidian Gargoyle, another very important card of this deck. When this card is sent from your deck to your discard zone, you may put it into play. With Aragon, you're milling at least 2 cards a turn. With Shrieker, you're milling. Treat, you're milling. Granite Gargoyle, you're milling yourself a lot. So when this card's sent from your graveyard, from your deck to your discard zone, put it into play. That's very good with Treat. You sacrifice. If you get an early Obsidian Gargoyle, they go to remove it. You can sacrifice that one, get the other 2 out for free instantly. It's 1 mana, get 2 dudes. That's very nice. And then it's a 1k dude that becomes a 2k dude with Great Behemoth. So another thing that people really didn't seem to realize One of the bonuses of being able to play black, like the Black Spirit with this deck, is Obsidian Gargoyle is ideally, not very good after it dies the first time, right? Because you're not going to get it from your deck in a graveyard anymore. So if you have 2 mana available, you can use Aragon to pay one, put it on top of your deck, and then use one of your Nightmare Crystals to instantly mill it and put it in your graveyard, which puts it back into play. So late game, if you're just trying to like push that extra like one attack, it's very easy to do. You just put it on top, mill it real quick, nice and easy. We have Mutation Zero Ziliac, which seems really out of place and weird, which I can almost agree with you. But it is not only a combo with Great Behemoth, it makes Great Behemoth cheaper, it gets bigger with Great Behemoth, checks towers very well. It has like the small, really cute interaction with Howina Conjurer Supreme that whenever you exhaust her to offering, you get offering for Ziliac for free. You don't have to actually exile anything; it's just a free dude. It's just like the small little things. Like I said, this is an aggro deck, so having like the 0 mana dude that can potentially just get bigger and scarier. It's just very nice. Um, Shade of the Silver King. This card is amazing. It's the one of the most exciting cards I saw out of the new set when it came to like all the legendaries. 7 mana, 4,000. Destroyer, Guardian, target attack. That's a lot of text, and it just gets better. That's offering 7. Put this card from your discard zone into play. So this card is very often just going to be a finisher for you. You pressure your opponent, get them real low, low on resources, and then if you can turbo this out real early, like maybe even turn 3, 4, that's a lot. That's a turn 3 destroyer while you've also been applying pressure with other little dudes. It's great. Um, and if they kill it, you can just get it back again later, more than likely, because you have a lot of dudes, just offering away more of them. So out of the main board, the only thing that I think I would have changed, since the 5 cost units are mostly only there for Gigath, they're there for like a slight toolbox every once in a while. Like I said, I only played like one, maybe two Demon Eyes this weekend. What I would replace one Demon Eye and one Katrina with would be 2 Catastrophe Demons. Once again, it's a 5 mana dark unit, but it has Destroyer, and your opponent's units and shards come to play exhausted. Uh, Honestly, it's going to be relevant probably just as often as Evil Eye was, but when it is, it's insane. I had a turn 2 Demon Evil Eye at one point, and if I would have had a turn 2 Catastrophe Demon on my opponent's turn 2, that would have been before they even got their second shard. And if your second shard comes into play tapped, that's backbreaking. Like you're set off tempo so hard. And then it has Destroyer, so they just get to attack you and get 2 towers for the price of, one simple attack on turn like 3. That doesn't happen very often. That's insane. But yeah, so I would replace one demon, one Katrina for 2 catastrophe demons, make it like a 2-2-2 split of the like toolboxy just throwaway units. I didn't get pictures for the sideboard cards. Honestly, they're all kind of just cards we see all the time. There is Sola for whenever we're trying to jam it really quick. Game 3, pressure your opponent really quick. 3 Raging Shard Beasts, once again, on the just attack your opponent plan. We have 3 Delayed Poisons when your opponent is, attacking us a little bit too much. There's a lot of aggro decks that, this is really good against. There's a lot of Liam 002 decks. This card's very good against them. Same with Golem of Devourment. You need a little bit more time to set up, maybe. Your opponent's deck just seems a little more aggressive than yours. You can pull them in and, turtle up. Acid Monger for the Hoenn decks that I know will inevitably be around. Hidden Laboratory is just great value, and having some way to get rid of that also just attacks sometimes is really good. Golem of Allurement is really, really good. I love this card a lot. I've always liked this card a lot, but now that Bone Scavenger is here as like a counter to this deck, I feel like Golem of Allurement is more powerful than it used to be because, it instantly gets rid of your opponent's answer for our deck. You just take it and use it as our own, use it against them, and that's very, very good. Sideboard, I honestly can't think of anything I would have changed. It felt great. Deck did really, really well. I will say this deck felt really, really hard to play. Like even by the end of the day, I was realizing things that I should have realized like 5 rounds before that. I was like, man, this is insane. There's so many interactions. There's, trying to decide, hey, do I need to draw or do I need to discard and get my Granite Gargoyle back? Like there's a lot of little micro decisions, but like if you can figure all of it out, it can be very rewarding. The deck will seem like it putters out really early, and that's honestly where the hard part comes in, is not losing on like turn three, turn four, whenever it seems like you're out of resources. Because honestly, you're probably not. You just have to find them. Um, the deck's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Uh, I pretty much wanted to build the deck based off of Peter Gargoyle and Grey Behemoth because I love Peter Gargoyle. The card's super cute, super sweet, and Grey Behemoth is just a house. And cards go really great together, oddly enough. Uh, I want to give a shout out once again to Team Shenanigans. Ran a great event, super fun. Shout out to my team lead who put together a lot of this list. I had the base idea. I'd been talking about it since pretty much Grey Behemoth was spoiled. Um, but yeah, it's been a collaboration and it's a lot of fun. I love my team. I love this game. Uh, Feel free to hit me up and ask me any questions. My Facebook and Twitter are on here just underneath Aragon. I'm always welcome or happy to talk about the game. I am in also both of the big discords. If anyone wants to hit me up, I have people that occasionally message me and talk about stuff. So I would love to talk about all kinds of random brews and everything. But yeah, see you guys at the next event, hopefully, and thanks for watching.